there's a lot of misdiagnosis and mistreatment. And that's why 30 years ago, I and two colleagues proposed for the DSM-4, the religious or spiritual problem category, to provide a category of for distressing experiences involving religion or spirituality that is not, by definition, a symptom of a mental disorder. And just very fortunately, it was accepted in 1994. And so
It
that's
was,
what.
by the way, Francis, that was literally months before I was first had my experience in December 94. Just in terms of synchronicity in the story we're all telling here, literally you helped pass that. And then probably a month later, because it was literally, I was at the end of December. So if it got passed in the DSM in 1994, it probably was, I don't know, in the DSM in October,
It was
November or
printed
something.
printed in 1994. Yeah, right.
Right. So literally months later, and it just goes to show you like, and I understand why and all that, but literally it was really not used in my case. And I can tell you, I saw my initial clinical diagnosis like 10 years ago. I found the paperwork from when I actually went the first time to this Freehold Central State and went through the whole thing. And literally in the document, it said Brett says he's Jesus. Like I literally, I mean, I'm still trying to find this paperwork. Unfortunately, I can't get it from the hospital because it's so long ago, and it's in my. I hopefully it's in my attic, but yeah, literally, it said in the report, Brett thinks he's Jesus. I mean, the word was in there, so they just were not trained, and not aware, and not hyper vigilant to that at the time. And unfortunately, first of all, thank you for doing that. Like again, whatever you have your own, vacuum and your way of looking at things and the system you're working within. But God, thank God you did that. Like it may have not really been implemented very well, which is not your
No,
responsibility.
no, that
It
that
was,
that is
yeah,
that is an ongoing problem. Is that I think that many psychiatrists are not aware of this category, let alone
let
utilize,
alone
not
right,
not.
and let alone the nurses and all,
I mean,
because really the psychiatrist,
I
I
mean it.
mean,
Yeah.
they should be responsible. The psychiatrist in a hospital really should be responsible for setting the tone of like the metaphysics and philosophy of that
Sure,
psychiatric ward.
sure.
So, for example, when I went in the first time, they assumed I was on drugs or in a psychotic state. So, what did they do? They put me in a room for 12 hours, took my blood, and put me in front of a 50-inch screen with the news being broadcast. Did they not hear about the son of Sam? Like when you're in a psychotic state, the last thing you would ever do if you were a psychiatrist, think about it, right, Francis? If somebody asked you in a vacuum, hey, Francis, if you thought somebody was having a schizophrenic episode, do you think we'd put them in a room in front of a TV with Dan Rather blasting on a 50 screen TV while they're stressed out, waiting to be admitted against their will and getting their blood taken? You would say, as a psychiatrist, you would say, no, that sounds like the most ridiculous set and setting if you think of psychedelics, right? It's like the most ironic, inverse type of setting that you would ever want to create for somebody who's in a distressed state, whether they're mentally ill or not. Like whatever the situation, you in your right mind, Calvin. I know if you thought about it in a vacuum, you would say, "Of course, Brett. We would never." I'm a psychiatrist. I know that that's a stupid